I was going to say about Smedley frozen peas and Stephen Farthing's post that my interest in Smedley frozen peas comes partly from the fact that it was my first job, and there was a Smedley frozen pea factory in Spalding where I was a child, and I got a job in the factory one summer, wearing a brown overall, working through the night, which I must say I've always greatly enjoyed factory jobs during the night. I remember once I worked in a factory making plastic loo seats, which was particularly satisfying because it was very quiet, and the loo seats were made in this incredibly aggressive machine. You wouldn't want to get your fingers trapped in it. But the loo seats came out bright pink and bright blue and all bright plastic colours. I suppose it was a vacuum forming machine of some sort, or a plastic injection machine. I'm not quite sure of the details. But the pea factory was lovely, and I did various jobs there. And at one point, my job involved squirting some sort of liquid into the beginning of the pea washing machine, and there was a big funnel, and I squirted the liquid in, and it stopped the peas frothing up, and so they could easily pass through the rest of the mechanical piping, and like some sort of intestinal labyrinth. And whatever the liquid was, it was put into an old squeezy bottle with a sort of screw-on plastic top. The peas would start to froth up. I would squirt in some of this liquid and get on with some other of the jobs. It was probably washing the floor or something, and then the peas would start squirting up and frothing up, and I would squirt in some more of the stuff. And Bob's your uncle. I did this all night long, and then one night I squirted, and maybe I squirted with too much pressure. But a few minutes later, the peas were not only frothing up; they were pelting me. They were literally being bombarded all over the room. They were. It was a pea fest, and the peas were quite firm, and it was quite unpleasant being pelted with peas. And I thought, how odd. Well, I need to squirt some of my stuff, and I reached out for the squirty bottle. And it was very strange because the top of the squirty bottle had gone. And I remember pointing it out. Someone's got my top. Someone's taken the top of the squirty bottle, I said. And so I tried tipping some of the liquid in, but that didn't stop the problem. And in fact, the peas were then cascading. Well, they weren't cascading. They were pelting everywhere. Nobody was in the factory could be out of the range of this pea bombardment. And various people descended on the pea machine, and they said, "What have you done, Vicar?" As they used to call me Vicar for some reason. And I said, "I don't know. I squirted the pea thing, and now somebody's taken my top." And he said, and I think they swore at me and told me I'd squirted the pea lubricating squirty bottle top directly into the machine, and it was stuck in the machine, so they'd have to take the machine to pieces. So work stopped for about an hour. I stopped the factory, to my shame, but I wasn't fired. It was very nice. I was then made to go outside and wash the forecourt where the peas arrived directly from the farms, and that was very cold and miserable. And eventually I was back in. I don't think I ever managed the beginning of the pea washing process, but I think I got involved later on with the pea freezing process, which was rather jolly. And so yes, I have an intimate relationship with the peas that are nudging up against Mr. Putin's prone body, and that I suppose by now, well over a year after his death, are almost indistinguishable from his corpse. All slightly green, after all. But Smedley HPs, frozen peas. I don't know if they still exist, but they were very efficacious at the time, and great fun. And I was part of their journey, and yeah, it was a very good introduction to work. And I don't remember how old I was, but it was. I worked through the night, and that's certainly something I've continued doing for the rest of my life. If necessary, I work through the night, and I love doing a routine job, and where my mind can just wander elsewhere. But sometimes your mind has to be on the job, otherwise you've lost the tip of your squirty bottle, or you squirt with too much enthusiasm and everything goes everywhere.